Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thanks for joining me once again here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. And we've got a variety of results to report from you from around the world, basically. Starting off with a fight that was featured by our guys on the weekend. So I won't go into too much detail regarding the victory that undefeated Ortiz Jr. had against Michael McKinson. Ortiz won by technical knockout at the 27th second of the 9th round of their scheduled 12-rounder. And as you all know, it was an eliminator fight for the WBA welterweight world championship and for Ortiz's WBO international welterweight title. Also on that card, however, was a great female fight. It was a co-main event of the night and featured newly crowned WBC, WBA, and Ring Magazine flyweight world champ Marlon Esparza. She's now 13-1. She's fighting out of Houston, Texas. And was defending her 3 world titles for the first time against her mandatory former WBA interim flyweight world champ Eva Guzman, fighting out of Venezuela. Certainly, it was a tough challenge for Marlon, but she maintained control and the pace of the fight and won via unanimous decision over Guzman. But in perhaps the most entertaining fight of the evening, we saw Maurice Hooker go toe-to-toe in another welterweight contest against Blair the Flair Cobbs, who has been featured on Talk and Fight. He hails from Philadelphia, fights out of Philadelphia, and they were fighting a 10-rounder in a super welterweight clash. And great description on boxing247.com. I invite you to go there to read it. But at the end of the day, the fight went the distance with the judges ruling in favor of Cobbs via unanimous decision with scores of 90-97, 90-97, and 91-96. So said Cobbs, it wasn't an easy fight. It was a tougher fight than my last one, and this victory for sure has put me in the top 10 rankings. I fought a tougher, heavier fighter. He could box and had an extremely long reach. But today I showed that I can go deep, deep waters, box, and give fans a show. I want to thank God for this performance. There's nothing stronger and greater than God. Today I showed that I have more to give to the sport of boxing than even through adversity. Blair the Flair will come out on top. Good stuff. There were other fighters on that card as well. It was a really good battle that took place, as I said, down in Fort Worth at the Dickies Arena on Saturday night down in Texas. Good stuff, as I said, from Virgil Ortiz Jr., who maintains his undefeated, unblemished knockout record. Over in Belfast, Ireland, we saw Michael Conlan defeat Miguel Marriaga. Mick Conlan returned home to Belfast and got back on the winning track. Conlan, who lost a featherweight title bid in March, defeated Miguel Marriaga by unanimous decision in the 10th round featherweight main event on Saturday night at the SSE Arena. That was in Belfast, as I said. This past Saturday night, the same night that Blair Cobbs fought and Ortiz fought, etc., as I just mentioned. Conlan is now 17-1 with 8 knockouts, prevailed, securing knockdowns in the 7th, 8th, and 9th round. Marriaga, who's now 30-6, a 3-time world title challenger, dropped to 1-3 in his last 4 fights, but showed a flourish of his own power in the 10th round. He buckled Conlan, and there are anxious moments for both men navigating slippery canvas. Anyway, in other interesting names on that particular card, welterweight, speaking of the welterweights, Tyrone McKenna, by unanimous decision, defeated Chris Jenkins. Jenkins, a former British and Commonwealth welterweight champion, appeared to do enough to earn the victory, but the 3 judges ruled in favor of Belfast native McKenna. Home turf advantage, I suppose. Elsewhere in the junior middleweight division, Kieran Malloy, who's now 2-0, defeated by technical knockout Evgeny Vazim, who's now 9-36. Malloy from Galway, Ireland, shined in a pro debut number 2, in his pro bout number 2, with a devastating performance over Vazim. Early in the second, a 4-punch combination punctuated by a right hook to the body put Vazim down for the count. In the super middleweight division, Padraig McCrory defeated by technical knockout Marco Antonio Paraban. And in the featherweight division, Kurt Walker, who we reported last week, 3-0, stopped on points Marcos Martinez, who's now 18-4. And in the welterweight division, keeping up news in the welterweights, Paddy Donovan, 9-0, 6 knockouts, won by points over Tom Hills, now 10-3 with 2 knockouts. The Irish southpaw sensation returned from injury and nearly 6-month layoff to shut out Hill. It was the first scheduled 8-rounder for Donovan, a 23-year-old who was trained and managed by former middleweight world champ Andy Lee. Good stuff out of Belfast. Over in Bridgewater, Massachusetts, something that we were reporting on last week, taking place at the Bridgewater Veterans Club. Popular junior welterweight Mike Badman Ohan turned in a workmanlike performance in night's next chapter, presented by Granite Chin Promotions on a very hot, humid evening at the Bridgewater Veterans Club. Ohan is now 16-1 with 9 knockouts as the former New England welterweight champ kept fans from his nearby hometown of Holbrook happy, taking a 6-round majority decision from Argentinian foe Jonathan Ariel Sosa. Good stuff elsewhere on that card. In a co-featured event, New Bedford, Massachusetts light heavyweight Edat McCumminham, 8-0, 7 knockouts, remained undefeated by knocking out Larry Slow-Mo Smith in the 3rd round with a vicious right to the head. The scheduled co-feature for the vacant Massachusetts Middleweight Championship between Julian Baptiste and Anthony Andriozzi was canceled midway through the show because Andriozzi became ill in the locker room. Explosive junior middleweight Luke Iannucci out of Methuen, Massachusetts, pounded KG Las Vegas fighter Rynell Griffin, who's now 80, 54-2 from the opening bell, at one point landing 24 unanswered punches when he pinned Griffin on the ropes. Iannucci's dominance lasted right to the end for a shutout, winning all 4 rounds on each of the 3 judges' scorecards. And Brockton, Massachusetts, David the Blessed One Ribeiro and Rhode Island junior middleweight Alfred Raymond fought to a 4-round draw. In the opening bout, Brockton heavyweight Kirk Wilmart, 1-0, an impressive pro debut, flooring Wolverton Silva 3 times, the last one signaling the end as the fight was stopped late in round number 1. Good stuff out of Massachusetts. Keep it up. Let's see those results. All right. Down in Plant City, Florida, Pro Box has announced that their last chance tournament at 140 pounds semifinals from their event center in Plant City are complete. The victors are Antonio Moran from Mexico City and Kendo Castaneda from San Antonio, Texas. And they will battle in Pro Box TV's last chance tournament on Friday, November 4th. The first semifinal win was a back-and-forth fight, and very close to call. Paul Malignaggi, Anthony Tarver, and Roy Jones Jr. called it from ringside. Prior to the scores, it was announced that the fight was a draw. They would fight one more round. Turns out, Kendo Castaneda, 19-5, won 96-94 over Joseph Fernandez. In the second semifinal main event of the evening, a little more one-sided, with Antonio Moran controlling the pace, and he was hitting Michael Dutchover with body shots and combinations. Dutchover attempted throughout the fight to get inside, but seemed frustrated as Moran kept his distance as needed, fighting, as Malignaggi said, in middle range. The scores were 99-91, 192 times. Good stuff out of Plant City, Florida. Let's see if they keep it up as well throughout the year. Certainly heating up around the world. And around the world we go, across the continent to California, to the Montebello Country Club in Montebello, back on the 4th of July, last Thursday, at the Quiet Cannon Country Club, also called the Montebello Country Club. King Callum Walsh of Cork Island won his 4th professional bout against Benjamin Whitaker in a featured fight of 360 Promotions Hollywood Fight Nights. And it was broadcast live, by the way, internationally on UFC Fight Pass. Despite the fact that it was sold out on location. Passionate supporters of Walsh, dropping Whitaker in the first round of their 6th-round bout, and where he displayed his full arsenal of world-class downs, winning every round in the eyes of the judges with scores of 60-53 on all 3 cards. So congratulations to King Callum Walsh. Said, by the way, Tom Loeffler of 360 Promotions about his 21-year-old talented charge. Going the distance tonight against a far more experienced veteran was a tremendous learning experience for Callum. He was in great shape and was able to show the skill set, which we believe validates him as one of the top rising stars in boxing. And we'll be announcing his next fight in October shortly. Walsh, by the way, is guided by Hall of Famer. His trainer is Freddie Roach. Elsewhere on that card, fighting in a special lightweight amateur bout, son of a legend, Manny Pacquiao Jr. defeated Dylan American by unanimous decision. And in their scheduled 6-round co-feature, Omar Trinidad, 9-1, out of Los Angeles, defeated Salinas, California native Javier Padilla by 4th-round stoppage. In an 8-round contest, Chelsea Anderson of Yorba Linda, California, outworked and defeated Ada Lady Sparta Sata Baldanova out of Hollywood, garnering the WBC Women's International Lightweight title in the process. In a battle of middleweight contenders, Kem the Champ Killick, who's 17-1 out of Sherman Oaks, California, and Marco Almanico Delgado out of Turlock, California, clashed for 8 rounds, with Killick being declared the winner by scores of 80-72 twice and 79-73. Eric Priest, undefeated, 8-0 out of Los Angeles, stayed undefeated with a spectacular first-round knockout against previously undefeated Corey Connor, who's now 3-1, fighting out of Las Vegas. Priest drove Connor to the canvas with a big right hand for the stoppage victory. In a sensational 4-round junior middleweight matchup, Jesus Gonzalez out of Riverside, California, stayed undefeated via split decision over Eduardo Diaz, fighting out of Inglewood, California. Scores were 38-37 twice for Gonzalez, 38-37 for Diaz. And finally, competing in the super middleweight division, Jordan Panthon, 1-0, had an impressive pro debut with a stoppage victory over Arturo Perez with a first-round knockout. And that took place at 1 minute, 16 seconds, as I said, of the first round. Let's move along now to the Philippines. 2 Universal Boxing Organization, that's the UBO, title fights will headline when Marban Boxing Promotions presents Stars of the Future on August 28th in Lagonglong, Philippines. Highly touted and undefeated prospects James Dynamite Pagaling and Eldon Golden Boy Gunahan, both only 22 years of age, will face experienced domestic opponents in their careers' first title fights. Pagaling, who's 6-0 with 3 knockouts, takes on former WBO Asia Pacific champion Macrea Gandianka for the vacant UBO International Super Bantamweight crown. In the co-feature, Gunahan, who's 7-0, 7 knockouts, will face battle-tested former 2-time Asia Boxing Federation title challenger Mike Kinadman for the vacant WBO International Flyweight title at stake. Despite a less than stellar, at 7-16-2 record, Kinadman has proven his worth against excellent foes, most notably in 3 defeats to former WBA and WBO world champion Victor Saladar, giving Saladar good resistance each time. The UBO Championship doubleheader will be preceded by what promises to be an entertaining undercard featuring local talent. Finally, I want to bring some women into the equation here, as I always do, by concluding the show with an announcement out of Devon, England, to be fought at the Riviera International Center in Torquay, Devon, on September 2nd. A new champion is to be decided when BCB Promotions stage their first show at the Riviera International Center, with fight night set for Friday, September 2nd, as stated. It's a golden opportunity for Devon's own Chrissy Shergold, who was born in Paignton but lives in Exeter, as she goes for glory at the ripe old age, of 41. Shergold's pro career started way back in 2008, and she's previously been a world title challenger, competing 10 rounds for the lesser-known GBCS, Global Boxing Council's round. Her paid record currently stands at 7 victories and 6 defeats in 13 outings, and she's been on a 3-fight winning streak with one technical knockout also on her slate. Currently standing in her way is the unbeaten Vicky Wilkinson from Womburn in South Staffordshire, who is less than 12 months into her pro journey. The 39-year-old was a national champion twice at the amateur level, with a duo of honors in the England Development Championships representing Darlaston Boxing Club. Wilkinson has made an impressive start to her pro run with points successes over Becky Ferguson, Bojana Lipzewski, and most notably the undefeated Leanne Bush. Elsewhere on that card, Christy Barrington is to switch from combat sports and undertake a sweet science, having been successful in her former callings, kickboxing and Muay Thai. Shannon Wiley has hit the road to get his pro career started, appearing on BCB shows in West Midlands since his debut in February. Elsewhere on the card, James Drummond has another chance at a BCB offering away from home, turning over the age of 34. In Birmingham, Drummond was caught cold by Ben Thomas in the very first round and subsequently stopped. A bit of a comeback. Further debuts will come by the way of middleweight Sam Smith and Taunton's Mertes Rowan, who joins the super lightweight division now. The home corner is a rarity for Plymouth duo Chris Attaway and Des Newton, who collectively earned to 3 figures for pro boxing assignments completed between them. And tickets for a Rumble on the Riviera are available at 40 quid a piece, 75 quid ringside, with buffet included. And you can go buy your tickets by visiting myfighttickets.com. Good stuff from our friends over at BCB Promotions. Good luck to the women and the men fighting on that card. Looks like a good match indeed. Once again, I thank you for joining me here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. Please join me later on at 4 p.m. for Knuckle Up with Mike Orr and Cedric Ben, and also a special episode at 2 p.m. featuring the Staffords on the Stafford Boxing Report. All those times, by the way, are Eastern Time, 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. respectively. Thank you for joining me. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.